What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video. And this one is some of my early thoughts ahead of the Game Week 16 deadline. So I'm going to go through some key players that we need to talk about, some notes from the weekend, and a big long ramble about my team while I'm stressed and feeling under pressure to buy Phil Foden. So let's get into it. So let's start with Jean-Philippe Mateta. And it's getting to the point now where it's harder and harder to justify keeping hold of him in our FPL squads. It's not to say he's an absolute must-sell, because I'm sure he's going to continue to start. He always gets chances. Eventually the goals will come. He's first choice penalty taker, etc. He's playing for a good team. But at 8 million, you don't want a player to be getting subbed off around the 60th minute. And that's what happens, or that's what has happened in 3 of the last 4 game weeks. And it's not like the fixture congestion gets better for Crystal Palace now. It's just as bad. And I think the kicker for me was, although I already sold him ahead of this game week, but the kicker for me would be, it was 1-1 in that Fulham game, I believe, when he got subbed off. And it wasn't just him, it was Hincapie as well. I really didn't expect that. I thought only one of them would come off, and Glasner hooked both of them. So in terms of rotation, I'm sure Mateta will start City, Leeds and Spurs and Fulham the next 4 game weeks. But how many minutes will he get in each of those games? And he's 8 million. So for a lot less money, you can go and pick up a cheaper forward whose minutes will be just as good, if not better, over Christmas. And that money allows you to go and pump it into midfield or defence or wherever you want to spend it. So I wouldn't have Mateta down as an absolute must-sell yet. But if you want to get rid of him before City at home, that is absolutely fine. And the game that really worries me is that Leeds game. So 2 days before they play in Europe and 3 days after they play in the Carabao Cup. Now, I suspect that Mateta will start that Leeds game, whether or not he starts the game in Europe. And you could look at it and say, Glasner will rotate in Europe. Maybe he will, because there's only 2 days afterwards until the Premier League game, but he doesn't rotate that often. And they're not doing super well in Europe either. They need to start getting some wins to make sure they get through, etc. So I think the Leeds game is another absolute 60 minutes max for Mateta. And that's obviously the better fixture of the next 2. And then then Spurs at home and Fulham at home afterwards. You're looking at Leeds on the 20th. 3 days later, they play Arsenal in the Carabao Cup. Then, to be fair, it's 5 days after that until they play Spurs. So he'll probably be okay for that. Then it's 1st of January for Fulham, 4th of January for Newcastle. There's just going to be so many subs in and around the 60th minute. I just don't think you can justify holding on to him too much longer, especially when we got 5 free transfers to use. In terms of top targets, it's basically Thiago or Raul Jimenez, I would say, for most people. I think if you haven't already got Thiago, that's probably where I would go. 6.9 million, Leeds at home, Wolves away next 2 games, really nice. Bournemouth at home is good in 18 as well. Then it's Spurs at home in 19. I know Spurs have just done really well against Brentford, but I would expect Brentford to do all right in that reverse fixture at home. So I think the next 4 game weeks look pretty good. It's worth saying that Thiago himself was benched recently, so it's not like his minutes are fully secure, but I really do think it was because it was Arsenal away. I think Keith Andrews, midweek game, tough fixture, you're not expected to win. It was just a chance to give some players a break. And without Utara around because of African Cup of Nations, game week 17 onwards, I cannot believe that Thiago will be benched during that time. And this week, when Utara is available, Schade suspended. So I'm pretty confident Thiago will start all these games. We know he's on penalties. He's a really good option. If you've got him already or you don't want him, definitely consider Raul Jimenez. He has to play at the moment because Muniz is out injured. Now, it doesn't mean he can't be subbed early. It happened against Man City, 73rd minute, but most of the time he's going to get close to 90 over these games. And he's on penalties, and he's only 6.2 million. Burnley away, Forest at home, West Ham away, next 3 games. I think as a kind of 4 to 6 game week pick, I think Thiago's better because of the fixtures. But Raul Jimenez is definitely an option if you want to stick to like a 3-4-3 or something like that. So, not absolute must-sell for Mateta just yet. But I think it's a pretty good week to jump off of him. So I might be wearing a Christmas jumper, but as a non-Phil Foden owner, I pretty much have 0 Christmas cheer at the moment. It's been absolutely brutal the last 2 game weeks. And I only say last 2 because at least I own him on free hit 13. He's 8.5 million. He's probably going to go up in price over the next couple of nights. I would not be surprised if he goes up 2 more times ahead of the deadline, which sounds absolutely crazy because he's already had so many price rises in the last week or so. But people have got 5 free transfers to burn. He's had 2 attacking returns in each of the last 3 game weeks. The fixtures coming up are still pretty good. People are going to continue to buy him. In fact, I've not checked the transfers in so far this week for midfielders. He was up over 1.3 million transfers in ahead of game week 15. He is at 560k already. I reckon he'd clear another million this week. So the price is going to continue to go up. The minutes don't look like they're going to drop anytime soon. You should probably just buy him. Like, the ideal time to buy him, I think, would probably be West Ham at home in 17 now. Despite the amount of fixtures Palace have got, I still don't see Palace away as an easy fixture. The problem is, if you wait until 17, you could be another 0.2, 0.3 million down. And I just don't think it's worth it. Like, if I think about, if I was wildcarding this week or next week or 18 or whenever it might be over the next few game weeks, I'm pretty sure Foden would be in every single one of those teams. He's just going to be a set and forget for a little while. And it might be that at some point he finally gets benched, and that's annoying and we reassess. But it's like I said last week or the week before, I think we just treat him as nailed until he's not at this point. Because he started every single game since game week 4. People were worried that he might get benched against Sunderland at home. Didn't happen, even with Real Madrid. Pep has said so many times before that Foden's available to play all the time when there's matches in quick succession. Now, it doesn't mean he won't take him out of the side at some point if he feels like he needs a rest, but he's also mentioned that when he's in this kind of rhythm, you just got to keep playing him. So I just don't see him coming out of the team anytime soon. That's famous last words. He's a Man City player, but it doesn't feel worth taking the risk. It just doesn't. And obviously the goals and the assists over the last 3 game weeks help with that assessment. Had he blanked, we wouldn't be sat here in a panic about buying him, but it just all is starting to add up. The points are there, the underlying numbers are there, the minutes are there, the price rises are happening. We've got tons of transfers to bring him in. I think you've just got to do it this week if you can, which most of you will be able to because of the 5 free transfers. So another midfielder with a lot of transfers in this week is Bruno G. The guy is such a good FPL pick right now that he's even scoring from corners. Absolute bargain for 6.9 million. My general thoughts on him are, I think he's a reasonably solid pick in FPL, but I'm probably not going to go for him anytime soon myself. Like, the next 3 fixtures, Sunderland away, Chelsea at home, Man United away. They're okay, each one individually. If you had to play them, it's not a problem, but they don't scream come and target me. I think for me, if I was going to go in for a Newcastle player, it's probably now game week 19, where it's Burnley away, Palace at home, Leeds at home. That just looks a little bit better to me. So again, he's perfectly reasonable, but I don't see myself rushing in. I think when you look at 6 to 7 million midfielders right now, there isn't a huge amount of options. Njai's going to AFCON, Sarri's injured, Grealish has scored a goal recently. He hasn't done much outside of that. It's Chelsea away, Arsenal at home, next 2 fixtures. I've got Minte. I don't see people rushing into him. So for the price point, it's fine. But I look at the attacking numbers. They're okay. Not much more than that. And then you could say he's a bit of an all-rounder, so he's got defensive contributions as well. It's 9 per start. And you need 12 as a midfielder to get the additional 2 points. So he will pick it up sometimes, but it's not going to be on a regular basis like an Elliot Anderson, for example. So I think he's a bit of an all-rounder like a Declan Rice, and he does have multiple ways to get points. I just think he's also the kind of player that could go through a bit of a dry spell. And so for me, picking him up before Sunderland away, Chelsea at home, Man United away, it just doesn't scream, come and get me, basically. So I think if you've got him, you're probably keeping hold of him. I can't really see too many reasons to sell him. But as a non-owner, I just don't see where he fits in. Also, and by the way, I've got Minte, and I completely understand no one wants him either. It almost feels like we're running out of midfield spots a little bit. Like, I've got Cunha, who hasn't played tonight, right? He might absolutely be rubbish again, but let's just pretend I've got Foden instead. Foden, Fernandes just feels like a really good pick over Christmas. So Foden, Fernandes, Saka's quite good at the moment as well. I think a lot of people want him for Wolves at home, but I'm going to talk about him a little bit later. Dewsbury Hall, obviously not great right now because it's Chelsea away, Arsenal at home, but he's cheap. He's a good enabler. And from game week 18, he's got lots of player. Like, if you had to play Dewsbury Hall 18 to 23, not a problem with the fixtures that Everton have got. So it's only really one more spot. So maybe Bruno Guimaraes does just fit in there. And maybe for that reason, he's okay. But is he the best? Is he that, like, if we say that Foden, Fernandes, Dewsbury Hall and Saka are all pretty nice, is Bruno Guimaraes the next best pick for that spot? I just don't know. Like, even Semenyo, who people are getting kind of cold feet on right now because there's been a lack of returns recently. Man United away, Burnley at home, Brentford away is not bad. I'd rather have Semenyo for these 3 games than Bruno Guimaraes. Now, he is a bit more expensive, and I realise that not everyone's got unlimited funds to spend. I certainly don't. But it's just, I don't know. maybe Bruno's just great, and maybe I'm just not on. Maybe I haven't fully got on board with these kind of players like Bruno and Rice with multiple routes to points, but not amazing at anything. Maybe they are just the ones to get this season. Yeah, maybe I've got it wrong. But I don't even see Saka as a must-have either. And I'm sat here with Foden, so I can't. I'm sat here with Cunha, so I can't exactly say that Bruno's a bad pick. I don't know, but you can get Rice for 0.2 million more. Declan Rice seems a little bit better to me. I don't know. He's fine. I don't know. He's fine. If you want to go for him, go for it. I just can't get that excited about a player that's like I said, he's not an amazing attacker, and he's also not amazing for defcons. He's just okay at all of them. So he's the kind of player you need to just pick in and leave. I'll leave it at that. If you're happy to do that, put him in and leave him for 5 to 6 weeks just to tick over with points. Great. If you want to bring him in hoping for another goal from a corner and a mega haul against Sunderland away, it's probably not going to happen. But could he get multiple small returns over the next few weeks? Absolutely. And that's why I said he's a reasonably solid pick. I just don't have any plans to buy him. That's all. So lots of people on the stream last night were inquiring about Hincapie. Is he nailed for 5.4 million in that Arsenal defence? I would say he's pretty much nailed at the moment until Gabriel comes back. Because even if Saliba comes back, Mosquera's injured. So Hincapie and Saliba would almost certainly be the centre-back partnership. Obviously, Calafiori can play centre-back, but he's always being used as a left-back at the moment, plus he's suspended this week. And Timber has played centre-back in Saliba's absence, but I don't expect that to be a long-term thing. So Hincapie is absolutely fine, in my opinion, until Gabriel's back. The problem is we don't know exactly when Gabriel is going to be back. So if you buy Hincapie, Wolves at home, not a problem. Everton away is probably fine as well. Once you start getting to Brighton at home, Villa at home in 18-19, then it might start to become a problem if Gabriel is back. Because once he is, he's straight back into that team as long as he's fully fit and available. Now, we've got 5 free transfers at the moment. So if you want to use one to bring Hincapie in to get the next couple of nice fixtures and then take him out again, that's fine. But I wouldn't buy him thinking he's a long-term pick that you're going to have for like 6 to 8 game weeks. That seems unlikely. So it all depends on what your, future moves are and how long you want this player for. Like if you want someone to bring in and keep long-term, it's almost got to be Timber, really. And obviously we've even seen him bench recently for Ben White, so he's not a complete guarantee over Christmas. But in terms of the defenders that are available for 16, it's got to be Timber. Unless Saliba gets minutes in the Champions League and then we know he's back, there's not really anyone else you can buy for the next 6 to 8 weeks. Calafiori suspended, like I said. Gabriel's obviously out injured. So Hincapie is a perfectly reasonable short-term pick. I can't promise you how many weeks after that he'll continue to play, but you should get 16, 17, and probably 18 as well, unless Arteta gives us an update on the time frame for Gabriel, and then we might have a better idea. So just a few notes from the weekend. As I've just mentioned, Calafiori is suspended for game week 16, so obviously don't buy him this week. If you're an owner, super frustrating to lose him for such a good fixture. I think if you can cover him this week, there is an argument to be made just to keep hold of him. Because an Arsenal defender longer term still doesn't look that bad. Everton away, Brighton at home, Villa at home, Bournemouth away, next 4. The Liverpool game in 21, not quite so good. But then it's Forest away, Man United at home, Leeds away, Sunderland at home. So I would argue, especially given they're the best defence in the league, Arsenal's fixtures for the long term are still quite good. And Calafiori is a nice price. We know he's nailed on that left-back spot. He might get rotated for one game, just like Timber has been recently. They've got Lewis Skelly that can play left-back, but he's going to start in the majority. And he's a nice price. So I think you can make the case to keep hold of him. But obviously, if you really want an Arsenal defender for this week and you got the money, you could just switch him to Timber if you wanted to. Saka was subbed on 78 minutes. I know a lot of people are looking to buy Saka this week. And I think it's absolutely reasonable. It's Wolves at home. You could argue he's the best captain for game week 16. I do think, though, we should be a bit worried about his minutes over Christmas. Not to the point where he's going to get benched for multiple games, but we've already seen him get benched midweek. That could happen again in, I think it's game week 20. Yeah, so game week 20 is game week 19 is the one that I'd be a little bit worried about because they play on the 27th, then they play on the 30th of December, then the 3rd of January. So it's Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. Now, Bournemouth away is probably fine, but it's this Saturday to Tuesday turnaround. And at the very least, if he starts, he's probably getting subbed early. The 78-minute sub was the thing that kind of got me worried a little bit against Villa because they weren't in a position where they were comfortably winning that game, and Arteta still brought him off. This is not going to be Saka 90 minutes week in, week out anymore. And so after Wolves at home, is he as needed? I'm not so sure. I might sell him. I don't think I will, but it has crossed my mind. I just think once you get past the Wolves game, he's less of a worry for you. So if you're not comfortable captaining him this week, I'd maybe think about just not buying him. He's not bad by any means. I just don't think he's going to be as good as maybe we thought. That's all. Brentford, Sharda suspended for game week 16. So obviously not one to buy. You could look at selling him as well with the 5 free transfers, then bring him back. I will say I think Sharda's quite nice after 16. It's a shame that he was so close to a suspension because Leeds at home, Wolves away would have been great. But the fixtures are still good afterwards. Wolves away, Bournemouth at home, Spurs at home, Everton away, Sunderland at home. So for those of you looking for a new midfielder thinking there aren't that many to buy, I think Sharda from 17 is quite nice. Like I think I would rather have Sharda for those fixtures than Bruno Guimaraes, for example. Maybe. Although I'm sure Bruno Guimaraes is a great pick. And Sharda, especially during African Cup of Nations, should be nailed because they don't have Dangu Utara to play. For Everton, Kiernan Dewsbury Mega Haul is now up to 5.1 million. It is Chelsea away, Arsenal at home next 2 games. So I wouldn't necessarily rush out to buy him. But if you're using like 2 or 3 transfers to shift some money around, you need an enabler for the long term. I do really just like Dewsbury Hall. He has overperformed a little bit recently. Let's not, pretend like he's this amazing option. But he's such a good price. He always plays. Hasn't missed a game so far this season. Often plays 90 as well. And like I said, from the run from 18 is Burnley away, Forest away, Brentford at home, Wolves at home, Aston Villa away, Leeds at home, Brighton away. And then it gets a little bit worse after that. But 18 to kind of 23, really nice. I just don't see him missing a game over Christmas either. They've got the Saturday to Tuesday turnaround as well, which is not great. But he'll play it. It's not like they've had Europe and stuff. Njai's going to AFCON as well, so there's less want for Moyes to rotate more attackers too. Just think he plays them all. And the way that I'm lining up my transfer, there's potential that he'll just be in my team for all these fixtures as well. So you don't need to rush in for the next 2, but if you need him as an enabler, great. And then Liverpool, Salah was benched again. That's the 3rd time. The first time, I was adamant he would start. The second time, I could not believe he was going to be benched again. By the time I got to the 3rd one, I was saying, you can't even say at this point, there's no chance he gets benched. And he got benched again. And obviously, we've all seen the interview afterwards as well. Like, Salah was, it didn't matter what journalist was there, Salah was going to talk. He was obviously ready to just go after the club and the manager, etc. He's done as an FPL pick for now. I'm sure they'll all make up and it won't be a problem longer term. But he's going to AFCON soon, so he's not. If you've clung on this long, if you were sat there after 2 benchings thinking he definitely can't be benched a 3rd time, I'm just going to hold him for 1 more game. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. There's I would say there's no way he's starting in 16. He could start in 16, and we'll see what happens in the Champions League. But imagine if he doesn't travel with the squad for the Champions League game. He's done. He's absolutely done as an FPL pick. We don't have to worry about him for a little while now. After African Cup of Nations, we'll come back to it. But we're going to need to see him start a few times and actually play well before we go there for a while. So let me just go through some early thoughts on my own team ahead of game week 16. Like everyone else, I've got 5 free transfers this week, although I haven't actually spent one yet. I know a lot of people have made early moves because they knew exactly what they wanted to do. I wasn't really in that position. I know that I want Foden. I'm just not sure the best way to fund it. And ideally, I want to do it in game week 17, but I just don't think I can. As I mentioned earlier, he'll probably go up to 8.6 million over the next day or 2. There's every chance it'll be 8.7 million by the deadline. And obviously, we've got a week between game week 16 and game week 17. So unless I want to make an early transfer ahead of 17, he'll go up again. So he could be 8.8 million by the time I want to buy him in game week 17. I've got to get him this week. It's just not worth putting it off any longer. This is going to turn into a ramble because I'm feeling pressured and stressed about how I get Foden. I can't believe how badly the Cunha transfer has gone in game week 12. And I know I'm getting ahead of myself because he's not played tonight against Wolves. He could do really well. And I might change my tune a little bit if he does. But honestly, not buying Minter in 12 is actually come back to hurt quite a lot because I could have got Foden for free and have had the price rises as well and the points. Instead, I'm sat here with a midfield that doesn't have him, and it just feels super bad right now. Anyway, the team is this as it stands, with 5 free transfers and 1 million in the bank. Raya and Timber double up Arsenal defence. More than happy with that against Wolves at home. That's pretty much a guaranteed clean sheet. And obviously they could concede. But as far as guaranteed clean sheets come, it's Arsenal against Wolves at home. Van Dijk can't keep a clean sheet to save his life against Brighton at home. Joachim Andersen, Burnley away. I'm happy to have him in place for the next few fixtures. Midfield is Saka, currently with a captain's armband. I won't talk about that too much right now, but I do want to captain Saka. I just don't know if I can actually go through with it, because obviously Haaland's minutes are just great. Palace away is not awful. It's not great, but it's not awful. And Saka's, I don't know, I think Saka's minutes will be okay, so I think I will go through with it. But this is what happens when you get a few red arrows in a row. You start doubting your decisions a little bit more. It happens to all of us, I'm sure. So I want to captain Saka. Fernandes going absolutely nowhere. Cunha, Bournemouth at home as well. Minte, Liverpool away, which is not great, but it is Sunderland at home in game week 17. Dewsbury Hall, Chelsea away. Obviously, he's not going anywhere for me because the fixtures are good. Then Haaland, Palace away. And Thiago Leeds at home. So I did Mateta to Thiago in game week 15 with my final transfer. The bench is Dubravka, Lacroix, Senesi, who's currently flagged. Iriola did say he hopes it's just cramp, but it might be an injury. We'll have to wait and see. And then Guiu. So basically, how do I get Foden into this midfield? I'm not sure, right? So this is what's playing on my mind. Had I, and I'm sorry to keep boring you with this, right, but had I gone for Minte in game week 12, I'm pretty confident I would have Foden in this team instead of Cunha, and I'd be looking at that midfield thinking, it's fine. I would not be sat here stressed about not having Cunha, right? Not at all. But I've already got him, so selling him becomes a little bit tougher. And again, maybe the Man United Wolves game tonight will just make it super easy, and I'll just do Cunha straight to Foden with $1 million in the bank. So I can do Foden in. Let's say Foden goes up another 0.1 million. I'd still have 0.3 million left over. So that is probably the easiest way to do it. But obviously, if I do that, I've still got to play Minte against Liverpool away and Dewsbury Hall against Chelsea away. So I might make a second move. So Cunha to Foden and Senesi, if he's injured, to Vandenberg. And then play 4-4-2 and bench Dewsbury Hall and just play Minte. Or bench Minte and play Dewsbury Hall. One of those two will get benched. So use two of my transfers. Vandenberg, I think, is not that bad over the next few weeks as a cheap option that could maybe get Defcons, little bit of goal threat. Like most of these matches for Brentford, if I had to play Vandenberg, I'd be okay with it from like game week 16 to 21. So I quite like him. So that's one option. Probably the easiest way is just to sell Cunha. The other option, well, actually, there's more than two, but one other option is to actually delay the move for Foden until game week 17 and sell Saka. Because after Wolves at home, there's no games where I'm going to want to captain him, I don't think. I think the minutes will be slight concern over Christmas, and obviously Haaland's just great. So most of the time I'm going to captain him anyway. So I could do Saka to Foden, and that would free up 2.6 million to spend elsewhere. Now you might be thinking, why are you trying to keep hold of Cunha? I get it, right? He's only got one goal this season. It's worth saying, though, before the last 3 game weeks, Foden only had 1 goal, 1 assist. And his underlying numbers were similar to Cunha. And now they've got really good. Cunha could go back to putting up numbers like he did last year for Wolves. It's possible. I'm not saying it's a guarantee. In fact, I would never say that about a Man United attacker. But I think he's better than we've seen. And his minutes are going to be pretty good over African Cup of Nations. I don't know about game week 16 because Mbeumo's still around, etc. But over this period where Man United got not bad fixtures, he should play. So I'm not like in a desperate place to get rid of him, but I guess I shouldn't worry about keeping him anyway. Anyway, Saka to Foden frees up 2.6 million. The problem with this is I've got to sell one of my other midfielders. So if I've decided to sell Saka instead of Cunha, I don't then want to spend the 2.6 million on Cunha because it would just be going back to Saka, right? So Cunha stays, Fernandes stays, and that means I've got to spend it on Dewsbury Hall or Minte. Now, that's fine if it's this week because Minte's got Liverpool away, but am I going to sell Minte before he plays Sunderland at home in 17? Probably not. So that money would stay in the bank. I could do it on Dewsbury Hall instead. And by the way, Semenyo is 7.6 million now, so I could get Semenyo in. But I'm not really in a rush to sell Dewsbury Hall either because the games from game week 18 are good and he's a super value or a super valuable player in FPL. So it's a weird thing where I'm kind of okay to sell Saka, but I just do not know what I would do with the money. Like, I could just keep Cunha, Fernandes, Dewsbury Hall and Minte and just get Foden in, or maybe keep the money until game week 18 when Minte plays Arsenal away and sell him then. But I think he's okay as a cheaper midfield pick. I don't want to put that money into the forward line, really. I don't want to come off the structure where I've got Guiu. I mean, I could do Guiu to Raul Jimenez, but Probably not going to do that. I would have already missed the Burnley game. I definitely don't want to put it into defence. I already feel like I've got enough money in defence. I don't need more. So I think I might just keep Saka by default. I don't know what I would do with the money. And also, if we look at Cole Palmer, I'm not interested in him any time in the next 3 to 4 weeks, probably, unless his minutes really improve. Like, he just started for the first time in a while and played 57, so they are going to manage him. But around game weeks 21, 22, the fixture run is great. So if he's proved his fitness by January, Saka to Palmer is such a nice move that if I keep a bit of money in the bank, I'll be able to do in one transfer. So I think I keep Saka. The other option, the third option, and there might be more that I haven't thought about yet, is to sell Minte this week. So like I said, I don't really want to sell him before Sunderland at home. But if I sell him this week, it's okay because it's Liverpool away, even though, yes, it's a great fixture on paper. So I need to free up 1.3 million. That would be Van Dijk to Vandenberg. Like, there's part of me that thinks that's the best move. Like, there's part of me that really wants to go through with that move, take some money out of defence, and get a midfield of Saka, Foden, Dewsbury Hall, Fernandes, Cunha. I think that looks quite nice. But it's that sunken cost. Like, because I've had Van Dijk I've had him since wildcard 4. I'm selling him before a home game, and he's got Wolves at home, Leeds at home coming up. It just feels bad to sell him when I've come this far. But it does allow me to get Foden for Minte, and I quite like that. The only other thing that's crossed my mind, and I can't, honestly, the amount of headache Foden is causing me right now is unbelievable. I haven't felt like this about a player all season. And his ownership is high, so that's a worry. But he's also just a good pick. I'm happy to go against high-owned picks if I don't think they're good. Foden is just good. That's the annoying thing. The other thing that's crossed my mind is Gabriel could be back in 3 or 4 weeks. Van Dijk's such a nice jump off to Gabriel. Now, obviously, I can't do it if I haven't sold Saka, so maybe that's just another reason to sell Saka, potentially, so that I can get triple Arsenal defence instead. But again, that thought has crossed my mind that maybe having Van Dijk there is just such an easy way back to Gabriel. But I quite like this route. I would play 3-5-2 this week. I'd play Dewsbury Hall against Chelsea away and play Vandenberg, Leeds, Anderson, Burnley, and Timber Wolves. And then basically, once this midfield's in place, unless Cunha really is just a terrible, terrible player, which Man United are losing Ahmad and Mbeumo to African Cup of Nations, so it could be bad. It could be bad. But unless he's an absolutely awful pick, this attack kind of just stays until they get injured, really. So then I'm just spending a lot of transfers on moving defenders around. And there's quite a few nice, cheap defenders to bring in soon. So Van Heck before Sunderland at home or before West Ham away is an option. You've got Michael Keane. As long as he stays fit, he's an option from Game Week 18. Burnley away, Forest away, Brentford at home, Wolves at home. There's probably also someone I'm missing. Vandenberg, Keane, Van Heck. I think that was most of the defenders I was looking at last night when I was running through plans. If I just go to 4.5 million, Mukiele maybe before Leeds at home in 18, but outside of that, I don't really want him. I think it was mostly those two. Maybe a double up on Fulham for a few weeks. Tete, Burnley away, Forest at home, West Ham away. But yeah, Van Heck, Vandenberg, Van Heck, and Keane are all players I've looked at that are not bad. I don't know. I don't know. The most likely outcome, I think, is that I do Cunha to Foden. But the move I want to make, I think, is Van Dijk out. It just doesn't feel right. The thing is, deep down, I don't think Van Dijk's a bad pick. That's the thing. No matter how many clean sheets get wiped for Liverpool, I just don't think he's a bad pick. Because he's going to play all these games. Like I've already talked about, Saka could get benched over Christmas. Timber could get benched over Christmas. Van Dijk won't. He'll play all these games. You know, the day after Boxing Day, Wolves at home. Will he play? Yes. Will he play 4 days later? Yes. Will he play 3 days later? Yes. Will he score a goal at some point? Yes. Will Liverpool maybe keep a clean sheet in one of these games? Potentially. Probably not. So it's just such an annoying time to sell Van Dijk. That's my problem. Also, by the way, things don't look great for me this week with Minte and Dewsbury Hall, but actually it looks much better 17 onwards. I don't have too many worries about playing players with terrible fixtures. It's just, again, the things that are going through my head right now, it feels like such a bad time to not have like a perfect team on paper. We've got 5 transfers. Why am I playing players at Liverpool away, Chelsea away? It's not great, right? I don't know. I want to do the Van Dijk move. I just don't think I can bring myself to do it. I'm going to leave it there because I've rambled for 12 minutes on my team. And I'm going to do a team selection video that will probably be even longer on Thursday. Thank you very much for watching me. Let me know. Let me know if there's any other route you think I should take. Obviously, if Cunha or Fernandes gets injured tonight, then it's obvious. But they probably won't. Especially Fernandes. He's an absolute machine. I just don't know if there's anything more obvious to how I get Foden. I've got to get him. I just have to do it this week, preferably before he rises in price again. Thanks for watching. Give it a like, hit subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow with transfer tips. See you then.